Mr. Dubey, thank you so much for joining today. It is, we are talking amid some very, very encouraging news that has come from your ministry, from your department. And I want to read the headline, which is doing the round, that government approves PLI scheme for drones and drone components. Could you please tell us about this?
Thank you, Shraddha, for having me. This is a landmark scheme in which we're going to pump money into the hands of the startups. Because generally, what are the top problems that our startups in the drone sector feel? One was the clarity of vision. Then it was about the policies, then the regulations, then there's funding, and then there's people issue. So the vision is now very clear. We want to be the drone hub by 2030, number one. Number two, in terms of policy, we did have some rules which came out in March, but based on our feedback, we had the feedback was scathing and not very parliamentary. So we had the humility and the humbleness to go back to a drawing board, listen, keep our talk less and listen more. And based on that, we came up with the drone rules 2021 on 25th of August. And within 3 weeks, we managed to get the clearance for the performance-linked incentive, which itself is a record of sorts in 3 weeks. Normally, most PLI schemes take months and months, 8 to 9 months, because it goes through several layers of approval. This again shows the importance that this sector is getting. So this will now pump money, the funding part. And on the people side, of course, there are drone schools and lots of approvals which are coming up, wherein we have plethora of certified, DGCS certified drone schools where people will get trained and they'll get very fast processing of the licenses. So this is part of that. Now, if I just give you the broad contours and some of the unique differences between this PLI scheme and the others, itself will demonstrate why and how the government treats drones as a special child. As a special kid, very close to the government. Number one, the PLI is calculated at the rate of 20% of the value addition. Someone at suppose doing 70 or 80% value addition can get 20% of 80%, which is 16%, which is very high. In most of the PLI schemes, if you notice, it starts at a peak of 5%. 5% of incremental sales that you do this year vis-a-vis a base year, which could be probably last year or this year. Okay, so 16% is very, very high. That's number one. Number two, this 20% on the value add stays the same for 3 years. In most of the PLI schemes, if you notice, it tapers down. So 5% becomes 4, 3, 2, 1 in the 5th year. Number two, the value addition norms. We have kept the value addition norms at just 40% because we understand it's a nascent sector. It's in its infancy. So we are still dependent on a lot of these imports from Europe or China, Taiwan, a couple of other countries. So instead of putting 50%, we argued and it was accepted by the finance ministry and then the cabinet that yes, we'll allow 40%. Maybe 3 years later, it will be taken back to 50% minimum. The whole idea was to widen the base of people who qualify. Third key feature is that in terms of turnover criteria, it's absolutely low, very, very low. Just 50 lakhs per annum for component manufacturers and 2 crores for full drone manufacturers. 50 lakhs is hardly anything, which means anybody who's manufacturing something in India will automatically qualify. Okay, so I mean, these are just some key features. If you have anything specific, I'll be very happy to answer specific questions also.
How have you looked at startups while formulating and coming out with the scheme?
Yeah, so as I mentioned, the whole scheme has been designed by talking, in fact, talking less and listening more from the startups. This is a scheme, I would go to the extent of saying designed by the startups themselves because it receives so many inputs, some very, very useful inputs, and all that has gone into the scheme. That's why the scheme is so different from the other schemes. Because other schemes like pharma, textile, auto, these are all mature sectors. So, I mean, everybody knows the issues. Okay, and also if you notice the amounts are, as I said, 5% of the incremental sales. You're talking about 20%. That's very high. And the other big difference is that, again, based on feedback from startups, was we stopped at 3 years. Now, there's a reason why we stopped at 3 years because most of the PLI schemes are for 5 years. Here, we are acknowledging the fact that our wisdom is limited. None of us, this technology is so revolutionary that which all sectors, to what extent, to what multi-application scales it can scale up to. It's like predicting internet in the 80s or the impact of mobile phone in the late 90s or early 2000 to say how many phones will India have and what all apps will be there. We would have been limited by the thinking of that time, and nothing wrong with that. Acknowledging this weakness of ours, we have said we'll stop at 3 years. And Once 2 years are over, we'll take a little pause and again go back to the startups and the beneficiaries and see how this has gone up. And based on that, we'll come up with another draft scheme for the next 3 or 5 years. So your question was about startups. This whole thing, I mean, as I mentioned, 20% kept static for all 3 years. There's no tapering down comes from startups. 40% value addition norms instead of 50%. Again, this is because of the feedback from startups. So everything, if you notice, which is there, it's coming from by listening to the industry and finding a way to help them out.
The numbers that we are reading is that drone industry, the nascent drone sector is going to be of 900 crores by 23-24. And then the other one is that 10,000 people it will employ in the coming years. What do you have to say about this?
Again, I would say our job is very easy because we deal with some very, very sharp people who come from the best of colleges and very, very sharp, very clued on about what's happening in the rest of the world. And we are in the leapfrog stage. So that's why if you notice, the jump is pretty substantial. Last year, we just did a manufacturing base is very, very small. Okay, primarily it was assembly, and gradually it will graduate into far bigger things and lots of embedded software, which our Indian youth will add as value add. And let me also clarify that why we're very bullish on the value add part is because in any drone, like your laptop or your phone, the value of the physical components is just about 10, 15 or 20%. 80% of the value actually comes from the apps that are there, the software, the brain part, the IP, the licenses which have gone into your laptop, your PC or your mobile phone. That's where the value comes from. And that is where India has a very big traditional strength. And that's why the government is pushing it so much. Now, coming back to your number part, again, because we are bullish based on various inputs that we got from various companies, of course, somebody will say 10x, somebody will say 50x, somebody will say 40x. So based on a lot of debate and discussions with the drone industry, we finally arrived at this target of going from 60 to 15x in just about 3 years. So 60 crores becomes 200, 400, and 900 crores. So as I said, this is just a prediction, and we'll be happy if we are proved completely wrong on the positive side. And hopefully the 900 may even become 1,000, 2,000, 3,000 crores. If it increases, we'll also again go back to the finance ministry, and we have been given that assurance that yes, they will consider it very favorably, that if the numbers justify, we may even get more funding. So this 120 crores may sound very small, but if you look at it in perspective of the base of manufacturing, everything is linked to the base. In auto, it's 5% of the incremental turnover. Similarly, here it's 20% of the value addition. But the base itself is just 60 crores. So when you give 120 crores over 3 years, effectively, you're giving double of what the current base is, because this number itself is small. And as I mentioned, as the numbers increase, and that's the reason we are stopping at 3 years, because none of us can have the power to predict. And if the industry catches up, the users catch up, the volumes increase, we'll again try and pump in more. We'll pump in more incentives.
How do you see governments and your department's role in promoting, propagating technology overall in the country?
So, in fact, I would say in the ministry, I have one of the most lucrative jobs and the most interesting jobs, which is to deal with drones. This is one of my 7 or 8 responsibilities that I handle, and easily one of the most challenging, yet the most fulfilling ones. And our role is very simple. It comes straight from our ministry's leadership and the top leadership of the government. Just support. And as I said, it's as we're also told by the top leadership, it's our work which should do the talking, not us. So you've seen, we came up with some rules which was based on the context of last year. See, last year we had some events in Saudi Arabia, some events in Iran, some of the airports which are shut down for entire days. You shut down an airport at Heathrow for 10 minutes, there's chaos. You shut it down for a day, you can imagine how many millions of pounds were lost, okay, because somebody thought he saw a drone. Okay, so that's the power of asymmetric power of a drone. Just fly a drone, just the flight of a drone, which doesn't even touch anyone, just loiters and goes out away from the airport, can shut down an airport for a day. Okay, so that's the sort of environment it had. So obviously our first set of rules were a little, I would say, as our young startups that are draconian, difficult, anti-growth, anti-this, anti-that. And we took that with all due humility. And now we've come up with the rules. So first the rules themselves, an indication. Then within 2-3 weeks, we got the PLI approval, which normally takes months. This itself is a proof that yes, the government is very supportive of high tech and technology and end use cases. Similarly, like agriculture, we see a lot of future in agriculture. So agriculture ministry is anyway working on the SOPs for pesty drones, because this is another big target that we have, that in 4 to 5 years, we have to completely do away with manual spraying, because it's very risky. You see the farmer putting a backpack. He's the guy who just put food on our table for lunch. Okay, and he suffers from skin disease, breathing issues. His eye gets infected because he's spraying it literally at point blank range. And with a drone, a easy drone, yes, the drones will become cheaper with time. He can do this 100 feet away, 200 feet away, and a very even spraying across the field as and when he wants. And he can do it for the entire village, maybe in a few hours or a couple of days, which normally otherwise manually it takes a long time. Tall trees. Now, he can't climb up tall trees with that knapsack and all that. So it's a very inaccurate way. And this is just, Shraddha, just one use case. I mean, there are sectors of the mining, search and rescue. There's all construction sites, surveillance. You actually have a large steel plant or a refinery or a cement plant. The owner or the promoter or the head of the operations, head of the plant, can sit in his head office wherever in Delhi, Mumbai, or whichever place, and have a live telecast of all the 16 plants that he has, and he can click on any part and he can get to see it. So, as I said, these are firefighting. We can talk about medicine delivery, especially in northeastern areas and hill areas, and finally medicine delivery, medicine supplies. You can literally, I mean, one person in a village dies, the whole family gets devastated. All this can, because of the golden hour concept. So you can just take it in a few minutes. What takes typically by road, it take hours to get to the hilltop. So as I said, Shraddha, just have Shraddha. And from the government side, we have absolutely full support of technology. Last part is the civil military convergence. I can't speak much about it, but as you would have seen in public domain last, just about a few weeks back, there were some 4 or 5 very large orders given on an emergency procurement of drones. So through that also, for surveillance, for combat, for kamikaze drones, or for cargo delivery up to the hilltops where the bunkers are, there's a lot of money which is being pumped in. So from our side, from the government side, from the military side, a lot of money is being pumped in, a lot of support is being given, a lot of processes are being done away with. If you notice in the forms, 25 forms, we say 20 forms are removed. There's not only just 5 forms. And 72 fee items linked to size of the weight, this, that, all kinds of categories of fees. All 72 fees gone, 4 fees left. And 3 out of the 4 fees are 100 rupees. Many are lifetime. Some fees like pilot license for 10 years. So 100 divided by 10 years is like 10 rupees per annum. You can imagine what you can get for 10 rupees per annum. So these are the various ways by which, instead of talking big, we have by our actions shown what kind of importance this drone industry have for us, and we'll give our fullest support.
Wow. Thank you so much, sir. I'm very encouraged. I'm sure everyone watching would be. Thank you. I hope this leads to massive number of drone and drone builders in our country. Thank you so much.
Thanks
a lot.